For a second.
Oh, weird. Does it have a number on the bottom? No?
We're good.
Alright, we're good?
Yep.
So last week in Flashback Friday, we established a couple things. One is utilizing frames as a preventative measure, right? We put frame bone structure in the way of my opponent and myself, right? Muscles cannot be relied upon. The problem with muscles is that, there's a certain failure point with every muscle at a given angle with a different weight capacity. So if I rely upon muscle, if I rely upon my ability to push or pull to accomplish an objective, there's going to be a point where it just isn't going to work anymore, right? There's going to be somebody big enough, there's going to be an angle awkward enough, and so on. But bone structure is either going to work every time, or you are going to be catastrophically broken. Which, you know what? If that's what happens, I don't know how you ended up fighting like that elephant, but your bones are pretty sturdy. They can hold up a lot of it, right? You think about people do weightlifting, like you think about how much weight you can squat, how much weight you can hold up, like if you just have bench press, right? You're just not so much lifting, but if you put 500 pounds on top of my arms right now, I might be able to hold that up if I'm on my back. I'm never gonna bench press, but I can hold it, right? Put 500 pounds on top of my elbows, as long as the angle doesn't get messed up, I might be able to hold it. So we established these frames as they pass the guard. What that also allowed us to do was sort of press off of them in such a way that enabled us to get on our side. The metaphor was very simple. If I imagine myself as being a race car and my opponent being the foot on top of the race car, I want to drive in the direction where their pressure is not, because pressure is not omnidirectional. If I grab you and get you on top of the invisible opponent in side control, be heavy down, like nice and heavy going down. Can you be just as heavy going down and going forward? Not really. Now you're going forward, right? You're not down anymore. You can go at an angle, you can do 45, but you can't be heavy down and forward. Pressure is not omnidirectional. So that's all well and good. By getting my frames in the way, I can, as long as his weight's going down, I can get on my side and it's like if the thing I have to do is go ahead and put the heavy left lay down, is lift up Tony. His pressure's good, but go ahead and put all your weight on my hand. It's like, I can get out that way. There is no pressure that way, right? And that is the concept of the hip escape, and that is why shrimping and hip escape through side control works. Awesome, great, money. However, what if I suck?
Yes.
What if I suck and I didn't preventatively get I'm not sitting here like, you better be ready for these bows, son. Like I'm not out here doing this. I don't know what the fuck this is, but in fact, what happened was Tony passed my guard and he got my head. Mm-hmm. And it was worse than that because he got his underhook too. So Tony is smashing. Okay. Go ahead and be real nice and for a second. Yeah. Excellent. You can connect your hands if you want. Maybe bring that knee closer to your elbow. Yeah. And I'm real like this is not pleasant. You need to hold that. As you can hear, this is unpleasant. I'm getting smashed pretty good right here. That's a pretty solid side control, Tony. I'm here. He's got weight on my chest. I can't breathe. No, you're fine. I can't. I'm okay. But it's hard breathing. I can't look at him. I'm like, what's going on over there? What's happening? I can't see. Something happening? What's good? Right. My arm's stuck. Go ahead and hold it. I'm like, my arm. I want it back. They're like, get your. And so, anyone who's ever trained jiu-jitsu has at one point in time been here, going to be super, super heavy. And their coach is like, get frames! You're like, help! What the fuck am I supposed to do? Can someone hand me a stick so that I can prop right here as a frame? I need leverage, boss. This is not great, right? So, we're going to use a couple of principles. Now, let me get you off me for just a moment. The main idea that's going to govern today's lesson, I'll just say the thing, okay? Guard recovery favors counter pressure, sort of you could almost say resistant pressure. And so guard recovery, recovering a guard, and re-rolls favor cooperative pressure. What does that mean? Well, let me get you over here. Resistant pressure would be, and just kind of sit facing this way. Resistant pressure would be if you lift your elbow up, right, and bend your elbow, and you're pushing your elbow into me, push your elbow, right? This is resistant pressure. Well, if I can evade that pressure, right, I can slip by it pretty well. By him putting his weight there, once I slip it, can you see that on the camera, okay, what I'm doing, right? I evade it. Cooperative pressure is when he pushes, and I take it. So I'm either going to use it as a counter pressure, or I'm going to use his pressure cooperative. What do I mean by this? Well, another way to phrase this is imagine my hand is a rope, and I'm holding Tony by the wrist, okay? If Tony tries to pull his hand away, and I'm just like loosey-goosey, keep trying to pull your hand away, it's like, go back to the beginning. If he's just like, if I'm loosey-goosey and just like tied here and he just pulls his elbow back, it's like, he's not going to get free because there's no resistance. But if I hold my arm as tight as I can and he pulls back, he's going to slip out. Because that counter pressure, right, facilitates the conditions where it's like, that's going to create a disconnect. So, go back to side. So the first thing we're going to worry about, and the first thing we have to utilize, is getting this elbow back as a frame. I cannot do much of anything in terms of recovering guard without this elbow being in position, right? So go ahead and hold really tight. So here's the problem.
Yeah, elbow, knee, how we can get out?
Now, you could take the method of just trying to like elbow your partner in the hip enough times until you displace it. Stop it. Right. Like, come on, man, stop. Right? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we need to gather some momentum. The benefit I have is, again, I have counter pressure. His hip is pressed against me, so I have something to actually kind of resist off of, which again seems like it would be unhelpful. But if you imagine his hips being like this floating kind of loose thing, I would never be able to clear it because anytime I put pressure down, it would go with me. Does that make sense, guys? Like, put your elbow under my, or hand under my elbow. If anytime I wanted to put my elbow down, his hand just don't resist, but like stay sticky, it went with me, I would never clear it. Whereas if he keeps his elbow where it is, I'm going to clear it because it's going to stay. Does that concept make sense, guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's rotate so that they can see my feet. What I'm going to do from here, so hold really tight, okay? I'm going to pick my feet up in the air and I'm going to swing them to the outside. Almost like I was trying to like touch my toes, in this case to Lila. So here, okay? I'm going to use that to start gathering momentum. And what I want to do is swing my feet hard this way and draw a big circle this way. So I'm drawing big windmills. You generate a lot of momentum by doing this, right? When my feet swing back towards his feet, I'm going to bring my elbow to the floor like, yes! Right now, if I try to bring my elbow down, I'm never going to succeed, but if I go big momentum, boom, I'm getting it. Okay, gather this momentum. Now I got my hip right again. Okay, now, from here, I'm not actually super duper worried about getting this frame in front of his face, because it would be great to have this frame, but remember guys, is a frame my arm being in front of his face, or is a frame my bone structure being in between my opponent and myself? Bone structure. So if I put this up here, do I have bone structure on my side? No, this is terrible, right? Like, what the fuck am I even framing? I'm framing his shoulder? Like, yeah, that shoulder's not going to touch the floor that way. Haha, Siraj, you are, right? So what I actually like to do from here is I'll go down to this elbow and kind of pin here, or just pinch it, okay? And at this point, I can also I could press on his shoulder here and kind of wedge my elbow here, but like create some degree of resistance. So it's like you try to grab, bring my elbow up to my ear or something. It's like kind of get some decent resistance here. Play around with different ideas, but sometimes just clamp, okay? From here, I'm going to do everything I did before, but the key here is that, and the big thing that makes this reguard work really is that this knee pressure stays tight. So if you go ahead and hold on to me really tight and you don't want me to reguard, is as long as he's holding down and his hips are pressuring in such a way that like my knee can press against it, it's like I can just keep wedging myself in there. And once I get this knee, so you guys see that little motion there? It's not like this big dramatic pivot, escape, and swing and knee comes in. It's sort of look this, right? So actually let's go all the way to the top. So just hold it and go and hold real tight. I'm here, a big swing, boom, elbow, right? I push on the shoulder a little, like find the ball of the shoulder and just kind of like push it back a little and kind of pinch your elbow. That's personally what I do. There's other things you could do. Play around, just protect this arm is really the big thing. And then I put my knee against his hip, and I'm just twerking until I can wedge it. Because his hip stays in place, because his hip is heavy on that right side, I can wedge myself in there. If his weight, and this is where we're gonna go next, if his weight's on my face and you're circling towards my head, Tony, then I'll never get that knee in there because I'll never be able to get resistance. However, if he keeps his hips heavy, then I can wedge that in. Once I wedge that in, my knee and my elbow are, so release everything and posture up, I'm here. You guys see that? My knee and elbow are connected underneath of him. So come back, please. Once I'm here, I gotta seal the deal. What I personally like to do is this leg is gonna swing over. And I just wanna get some resistance. I don't have to be super gummy and get it all the way around his back. I just have to find something that my ankle notches against. And then from here, I'm not trying to move my hips. When I try to move my hips, I'm kind of weak. What I'm gonna do is elongate my shoulders. From here, double up, knee comes in, and I'm ready to boogie. Does that make sense, guys? Do you want to see that, Tony?
No, I'm okay.
All right. So from the top to the bottom. I'm sorry. So let me smash. Good. We were nice and heavy. Okay. I'm here. Okay. This sucks. So my first movement: pick my feet up. My feet come together. Big circle, and get that momentum. From here, I like to press on the shoulder. And here, you notice I go back. It's like if I just push, you feel like I just kind of get him to move back a little. Get a little bit of alleviation of pressure. From here, knee loose to the hip, and I'm not so much thinking about stripping my hips away. I'm turning my hips like a screwdriver to wedge my knee in there. You guys see that? From here, I'm not trying to scoop my hips in because I will not have success. My leg wraps over his back in such a way that I hook my heel onto him like a grappling hook. I'm Batman. Anyway, and I'm pressuring my knee, like, posture please. I'm pushing my knee into Tony's hip line as this kind of pulls. So it's like the movement is, imagine his body's between me, is like pushing this knee, pulling this ankle, and pulling away. So if we go back, we're here, I'm here, and I elongate. And he's either going to try to square up with me and address this, or he's going to get omoplata, if I know anything. That makes sense, guys? And again, especially think about, like, if, for the y'all with the shorter legs, don't worry so much about where your leg goes, but rather that it hooks your heel, hooks onto something. Doesn't matter how far across it goes, it just matters that it hits something that it won't slip off. That makes sense, guys?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's start up our got. 1, 2, 3.